Okay, so I meet a lot of high wealth people
Sure.
who have a couple issues. One, they have time poverty.
Sure.
A lot of health issues,
Yeah.
a lot of stress.
Sure.
And you talk about not so much grinding, like people always grind it, but you talk about having time freedom. Tell me what time freedom is and what it means to you, what you like about it, and how do people accomplish that?
Sure. So I think that at an early stage, several years ago, when you actually get that time freedom, it just means the freedom to do nothing, and so that's cool for a period of time. So literally waking up when you want to, doing what you want to do, going to a movie in the middle of the day, going, to the restaurants, hanging out, nobody's around, you're living like you're a retiree,
Hey, how was that first time you went to the movies in the middle of the day? Did you feel guilty?
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't feel guilty, but I felt old because there was a lot of older folks, It's like, I was like, at a convention with, with people who were, maybe twice my age, because that's where the retirees go. AARP convention is up in the movies at noon, So I didn't feel guilty, but I felt good that I could do it, and I didn't have anywhere particular to be. So time freedom early on was just the freedom to not do, or do or not do whatever I wanted. Not that it changes, but you just realize that you have so much life left that you have to fill in the blanks with what's important to you. So it goes from the ability or the freedom to do or not do to the ability to now do whatever it is that you really want to do. And then it becomes more, for me, it was more of a humanitarian approach. How can I best use this time that I have to serve others? How can I best use this time that I have to help my familial situation, help my children become better, spend time with my boys, So for me now, it's about being available for them, taking school trips with them, being a volunteer in my kids' school, building new businesses where I can help other people become free. It's very much like the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you go from the basic needs to the self-actualization. So the basic need, once you're attaining time freedom, is the freedom to not do or not do whatever you want to do. And then the self-actualization portion of it comes to say, okay, how can I use this time freedom to actually benefit society or benefit what's important to me? And so I think that's a very important leap that you should take in that journey if you really want to continue growing.
Yeah, I ask people often, if you didn't need money, what would you do?
Sure.
And then they often say these big things like, I would feed the homeless, or I would save all the dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what I found out is people really don't know what they would do.
Yeah.
So how do you get a person who's never had time freedom, or they've always changed time for money,
Sure.
to move into that space where they're able to help others or even do something that they don't even know they want to do?
Right. So I think that's okay to not necessarily know what you want to do at the onset, but I think as a part of your personal growth, you should always be asking questions of yourself. What am I about? Why am I here? If your job was not necessary, what would you do with that time? And it's okay if a lot of those answers are selfish answers, that's totally okay. But I think that the reason that most people never attain that time freedom is because they never reflect on what it is that they really want. And so they don't have clarity of their vision. They don't have clarity of where they want to be. And all they want to say is, I want to be rich, or if I had this, if I had that. If you had this or that, i.e. money, which ultimately helps you create the time freedom, you're looking at it as if it's a destination. You're looking at it as if it's something on the horizon. And, newsflash, the horizon never ever comes. That's why it's called the horizon. So you have to operate in the space of as if you have it, as if you have attained it, and you start operating in that energy, and then it will start coming, it will resonate with you, and actually you will attract it. A lot of people who do have financial means, they're always in the grind, they're always, on the quote unquote paper chase. I'm not chasing anything. You know what? I attract stuff to me. I don't run after stuff. Matter of fact, if you look at a child and you start running, the child's gonna start running. So you're trying to catch them, but they're running away from you because that's their natural instinct. As you chase something generally will start moving away from you. So I don't chase anything. I sit back and I attract. And I think that a lot of people who, they're workaholics and maybe they haven't developed their own identity of their worth outside of their money, and so they continue to work. Some enjoy it, but some continue to work because they really don't have an identity outside of creating money. And I think that's an empty journey as well, because who wants to, have millions of dollars stacked up and you spent 40 years of your life grinding it out, and then you're too unhealthy to enjoy it. Speaking of which, your health is your wealth anyway. So you've got to be healthy to really enjoy it, or you're going to spend it all on healthcare. So I just think it's just about really coming to terms with yourself, having real candid conversations with what's important. And what's important now may be different than what's important later, but understanding that you have to ask those questions of yourself of why you want what you say you want. What will the real benefit be of what you say you want? Look at points in your life where you've actually had means. What did you do when you had the means? Because that'll give you an idea of what you'll probably do when you get more means. So you have to come to terms, and you have to really address that stuff before the money comes, because if you don't, you may be in a worse situation than you were when the money didn't arrive.
There was a well-known comedian, and not only comedians, like motivational speakers, who say, well, you sleep when you die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They got this go mentality. Yeah. Rich people don't sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, rich people sleep better because they ain't worried about their bills.
Exactly.
What do we do about this prevailing, narrative that you have to, just grind it out and sweat it out and don't sleep to get where you want to go? Sure.
I think that if you enjoy that, more power to you. If you enjoy getting up every day and working 12-hour days and clearly it makes you plenty of money, that's okay. I don't think you have to do that. I think that there's a mentality that gets pushed upon people, particularly in the United States, to where if you're not working, you're lazy. If you're not doing this, or you're not, filling your time up with all these activities and these tasks, that there's some level of worth that you lack. I don't subscribe to that. I think that I go to work to do whatever it is that I want to do or not do. And so if I choose to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and have a 12-hour day, that's my choice. But to say that a 30-year day is gone if you sleep for 8 hours, well, I need my energy. I need my rest, and I'll function better probably if I did get that sleep. So maybe I'll go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. Okay, I get that. But to place judgment on people for not doing or approaching their wealth path in the same way that you approach your wealth path, I don't think that's productive, for people, because it's not a one-size-fits-all society. And so to say that you have to be grinding it out and, you got to put yourself on the verge of a heart attack to get it, what's that about? I don't even understand that mentality of that you want to judge me because I have less than you, or I haven't accomplished what you've accomplished, and you're saying that the path to get what you want, what you have, is to go out here and bust my tail, 8-12 hours a day. No, I didn't. All I did was exchange one job for another. It may have more zeros on it, but is the stress level any different? And if you're still stressed out and going and doing those things, that's not value. So I just don't believe that, man. I don't subscribe to that. And more power to people who do subscribe to that. And if that works for them, that's fine. But I don't think that that's necessary to have a successful life.
Well, I've worked with a lot of financially successful celebrities and big personalities. But one thing I found is in that grind and in that hard work, they are disconnected from their children.
Absolutely.
And you don't get those 18 years back.
That's exactly
you don't get to that graduation over. Right. You don't get to celebrate that anniversary.
Right.
Tell me how important it is for you to be able to watch your kids grow up and take them to school, and how that's kind of changed you.
Yeah. Well, I was blessed to have my children later in life than most people. So, when I go to school, a lot of the parents don't look like me. They look, they're a little bit younger. But I enjoy it because when I became a father, I knew that ultimately became my primary mission. And so I wanted to put myself in a position to always be able to do those things with my children. And so for me, my focus shifted from what more can I do to create more for myself or my family or whatever, to what can I do to pour into my children? What investment can I make in them to accelerate their growth in their process? And the first element of that is spending time with them, and being a part of their lives. So having children for me actually sharpened my focus, and it made something so clear to where some choices just fell away. I used to travel a lot for business. I used to do a lot of speaking engagements, and that's fine. But I was gone for a week. Recently I was gone for about 7 days on vacation, and it tore me up to not be near my children for 7 days. And so my focus and my value is in the legacy that I'm creating through them. So that's where I spend my energy. I do believe that while you're in the middle of getting it, if you will, or in the middle of grinding it out or creating what it is that you want to create, everything won't be in balance, and I say things may not be in balance because you can't have quote unquote work-life balance and actually accomplish your goals to the level that you want to accomplish them. There's no way to do that. But you can have harmony. If you think about a symphony, A symphony can sound beautiful, but not every instrument is playing at the same time. And every instrument isn't playing at the same level or the same tone or the same, magnitude. And so once you realize that you can have harmony and still have the beautiful symphony of a life, then you put less pressure on yourself to create work-life balance, and you take that energy and shift it where it's really important. And for me, that's my children. And then you let everything else complement that.